So I play an elf ranger. Lots of bow damage and stuff like that. I'm kind of new to the party between these two. These guys have been adventuring a lot longer than I have. But they don't really know my background too much, so I'm not going to give too much, but I am like from a shifting forest. I'm kind of just along for the ride right now. That's kind of my background.
Well, my character's name is Kael Strats. He's a dragonborn paladin. He hails from Miracos, and he's a knight of the Order of the Bright Blades. He doesn't talk to the forked tongue.
True.
The Bright Blades make a living defending people, doing odd jobs against monsters, that kind of thing. If you could to go out of universe, imagine what the witches do, but there's more of us.
That's true.
A lot more.
A lot more, yes.
Lots more, yeah.
All the witches.
I literally just wrote down blight braids.
Right,
That's going to be something.
Wow. Okay.
The blight braids.
Right?
You've just created something within the world of Urson.
That are dark magic.
Druid dreadlocks, got you.
They're necrotic.
It's definitely something mildly mortifying. So, Hillary.
Okay. I am Mazikeen. I am a tiefling death domain cleric. So I could heal or I could kill. It just depends on how much I like you or don't. I come from a sand world desert of Kazesh. However, I run from my past and I don't share anything about it. And I really, really love leaves. You will find that out. Because where I come from, leaves don't exist. These things are beautiful. You can do so many things with them.
That's true, because Kazesh is situated at the base of a mountain range surrounded almost entirely by conifer trees.
Yes.
So evergreen style trees are all that's around where Maze is from.
Oh, those are so boring.
Okay, so for my part, I'm of course the Dungeon Master here, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys kind of a recap of what happened during our last performance here and last episode of our show. The wind has me mildly concerned, but last session, Ilandwar found himself drifting off slightly during his watch. As his eyes snapped open, the world seemed different, ethereal and foggy. As he looked up, he met the eyes of a large black raven and felt his consciousness transported into the raven. They flew over the land between the group's camp and Nethrashara. As they approached the city, Ilandwar was shown visions of slaves being tortured and put to work by evil beings of various fearsome visages within the once great elven city that now lay desecrated by the demonic presence within. His vision shifted, showing him the throne room where a beautiful but terrifying demonic queen now sat. She had an audience of 3 various individuals, and as their pleading and counseling became more intense, she suddenly lashed out, viciously slaying each one of the individuals before snapping her head to the left and making direct eye contact with the raven Ilandwar was seeing through. Ilandwar was overcome with fear, crying out as he returned to his own body. The rest of the group jumped awake to witness Ilandwar retching on the ground with his eyes that were in that moment jet black from corner to corner. He stared out at them and recounted the events that he had witnessed as his eyes slowly faded back to their normal state. They then left their camp, and on their path were suddenly interacted with by a spined demon that swooped down from the sky and questioned their intentions before lashing out, not believing for a moment their deception. The party fought back and quickly dispatched it. Mazikeen had then gotten a little bit of an idea to carve away at the devil's flesh. It's actually a spined devil. I wrote it wrong here. At the devil's flesh, with the assistance of Ilandwar, they created a method of camouflage that is very akin to walking underneath the boat in Pirates of the Caribbean, that kind of situation, where they flayed open the belly of this devil, and all of them kind of crowded underneath and made their way through the forest.
Used it as a puppet.
It's a very
Precisely.
belly puppet.
It was a 3-person puppet. And right before leaving, however, Maze also got another brilliant idea of taking the intestines of the devil, blowing into tied-off sections of them, and creating the most morbid balloon animal dog to ever be seen, dripping and oozing with bile and disgust. Continuing on through the forest, the group began to feel as if they were being watched. Suddenly bursting out from the trees came 3 hellhounds, dripping magma from their jaws. The party fought back, taking some damage in the process, but in the end dispatched the pack. However, as they caught their breath from the fight, the Cambion leader of this hunting party flew down among the group. Kaelistrats immediately charged forward, seeing the presence of this half-fiend creature. As he took his first swing, he connected with the chest of the Cambion, who stepped back and attempted to take over Kael's mind to have him be the one to slay the others. Kael resisted the spell just as Koral fired off an arrow from the trees, an arrow the Cambion caught and threw to the side. As he did this, Kael landed 2 rapid radiant blows with his greatsword, cleaving through the shoulders and across the torso of the Cambion. Shocked at the strength and power of this paladin, it fell, dead, eyes wide in confusion and fear, unexpecting to be bested by what it thought was just a group of travelers in the area. And that, as you guys catch your breath from the fight, is where we pick things up now.
I go up to one of the zombie dogs that I created and pet them and good boy.
This is correct. So
Yes.
another point of context behind, May's raised dead on the
Why
Hellhounds. And
You always do this.
yeah.
It will get better the more dead I bring. They're puppies. They're so cute and melty, but they're cute.
How much time do we have left in the day?
So at this point, you guys had basically broken camp. So you're looking at, it's roughly noonish.
Manish.
We'll need to continue forth for just
Yeah.
a little bit, but we don't want to take it on at nightfall. We probably want to rest up.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say let's follow this path. It's kind of clearing here for another 2 to 3 hours and then get off the trail for a little bit.
Sounds like a good idea.
And to, if you guys could all 3 roll just intelligence rolls.
18.
6.
Okay, so the 2 of you
think about
are
that.
firmly set in this plan that it is the best course of action overall. However, Kael, you recall that this is your 2nd day, and on the 3rd day is when the 2 armies are set to converge upon the city. So overall, you guys have what you would assume roughly 24 hours before that point happens, and before your scouting mission should have some form of communication back to Mithressa, just overall. So how do you guys proceed?
You know what? I just remembered. We don't have enough time.
You don't.
So,
How can
We'll need
you
to
tell?
continue
Like
forward.
the sun or?
right, the sun and how long we've been, and how long they said that they would
Oh
be.
yeah, that's true.
And,
You've only been.
We've only been here
Max.
for this many.
No,
No?
no,
Not this many?
no.
Oh, okay.
This many, but days.
Oh,
Right.
that's a smaller number.
And we only have this many days.
Is that?
It's more. but
Oh,
not
okay.
much.
Gotcha.
So we'll have to at least get inside the city and have some way to communicate back.
How far do you think it's going to be? You think we'll be there?
Elandwar, roll another intelligence.
Ooh, Mr. Woods.
What is it?
Intelligence. Actually, you can roll survival for this, just because of who you are.
Nice, that's much better.
He's like,
That's going to be a 19.
Okay, so it would take you from where you currently are, based on your general memory of being within the Raven.
Flying.
It would take you probably around that 3 or 4 hours to get to a point where it seemed like there was kind of a cliffside that kind of overlooked the city itself.
Well, actually, thinking about like when I was in the bird form, I think we've got about 3 or 4 hours of more travel till we get to like the base of the city, maybe the cliff sides or stuff like that.
Okay, so we're going to that like an Overwatch or something, some position where we can see down into the city.
that would be very good, so we could see inside and kind of, get a lay of the land.
Maze will find a stick and poke Elandor with it and
What?
say, I don't trust birds.
I
poke him again.
I'm not a bird right now.
I just keep poking him.
All right, Slowpoke, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, Elandwar, are you leading?
Yes, I'll lead.
Okay, so do your survival for your tracking. And then, how are you guys proceeding? Got just a slow pace, standard pace, a stealthy pace? What are you guys doing specifically?
We failed this.
I think probably a cautious pace.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want,
We
just got done, guys.
We already know that we've been to Scotland.
I can. My character has improvements to going in this terrain, even though we're not on the trail, so we can go faster off the trail.
So you guys are still at the same overall pace based on Ilanduar's favorite terrain.
Not on a trail.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go whatever pace.
Okay, I think
our God.
I'll take you guys off the trail a little bit. Just try to keep up. I rolled 14 for survival.
Okay. And then everybody roll stealth checks for me too. Just overall.
You know what? We're gonna
Nat 20.
Nice. Okay.
Nat 20.
16.
10.
Okay, so Ilanduar says that he's going to take you guys off the path, and he turns to the right and steps through a thicket of bushes. As this happens, you guys try to follow, and you look through, and he's gone. And then he pops back out.
Hey! I said keep up. This way.
And now you guys are following.
Okay.
May is being a little bit... having a little bit of difficulty getting through the area. There are, since you're off this path area now, there are some kind of like brambles and thorn type bushes that are catching on your clothing, kind of pulling at your cloak, and as you kind of break away, it snaps off some of the twigs and stuff. Kael, you've got a little bit of a rustle going to your armor. Ilanduar is just not even a breeze.
The occasional.
No,
Not even that.
No, for me. The occasional, as I catch a limb or something.
Gotcha.
Koral, who is Kael's goblin squire, generally riding upon his shoulder, is up there and gets hit in the face with a branch of one of these trees. And as this happens, she kind of rolls back.
Keep it down back there, you guys.
Sorry!
I just offer part of my cloak.
Like my class. Thank you.
Throws
Come
it
on,
back
we have a
down.
long way to go. Let's go. Keep it down, please.
Okay, so you guys continue on. It takes you the better part of the 4 hours as opposed to the 3 hours you kind of anticipated. But at this point, the forest itself has been fairly thick overall. It starts to slightly thin with the branches themselves kind of raising a little bit in this area, but the bushes and such are still around. And you start to see farther through the trees. And a few hundred yards forward from there, you actually come up to this point that overlooks the city itself, which you can see, all of you now from this vantage point can see that is this one-time beautiful elven city, very large and well built, a multitude of spires and odd stone types that seem to kind of reflect the light in various colors. Making it to where the refractions of the light here go across the lake itself and give kind of this colored, sporadic lighting to the Lake of Dreams that butts right up against the city. However, it has been clearly and obviously desecrated to a fairly great extent. This has been an incursion that has lived here in the city, led by various forms of different demons, one of which you are intimately familiar with, and others you have yet to meet. It's been about 100 years since Nethershar originally fell, and in that time frame, various bits of rusted and charred metals have been kind of affixed to the outside structures here, with various barbs and hooks that are blackened steel kind of affixed to the side of all the buildings, the walls. The walls themselves have various spots where they have been just kind of blown in and ripped asunder. Some of the spires are seemingly perpetually smoking, these black clouds that overlay the city itself. The light that comes into it is coming up from an angle over where the sun travels across the lake. And that's the only thing that causes any of the former city itself to really be visible in this instance. you're too far away, maybe a few miles at this point, to really make out the specific individuals there. However, you do see a multitude of creatures flying above the city, around the spires, through the clouds, and...
do I see any natural creatures, or is it just...
Make a perception check.
Demony? 4.
4.
Probably not.
From this distance, you can tell they're winged creatures, but they all just seem to be kind of these dark shapes, because the way that they are set against that black backdrop with the sun coming from this side where you guys basically are.
Do you guys see any birds flying over that, or is that just
Those,
things?
I mean, those look, everything here looks just demonic. This used to be a good-looking elven city, and it's been absolutely destroyed. It makes me very angry, actually, very angry.
Angry.
Is there,
I guess.
do you see any rodents or anything small?
And I can take a look.
Around.
I'll do perception.
Yeah, I just say I look around. So
Natural
roll.
20 again.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna do no good. Oh, nat 20! Oh my gosh! I get one of those.
Well, that never happens. So
This like chaotic dice
Looking
is
for
amazing.
wildlife, yeah.
let's.
For frying frogs.
Both of you, at the same moment, as Kael's kind of trying to peer out towards the city, the two of you hear this fluttering behind you, and both of you kind of look around, familiar with the sounds. It's that of a raven, black in coloring, not white, and it kind of just lands on the tree and looks at all three of you kind of intently, and then flies back off, angling over the lake itself.
Okay, I just say.
I was going to say, while he's landed, so I might have to write on something. I'm going to cast Speak with Animals. I'm okay.
Elandwar, roll a d20 and tell me what the number is. Maze as well.
Okay.
15.
9.
Okay, so Elandwar does point it out to you, giving you the ability to notice that it's there.
All right.
And so you can go ahead and do so.
All right, so I cast Speak with Animals, and just kind of pull it over. Excuse me.
That was the one that I think was talking to me.
Have you flown over the city recently?
Maze is looking for a rock.
He looks over to Elandwar, looks back to you.
Could you tell us what's in there?
Do you have your spell for Speak with Animals specifically?
Yeah, he pulled it up.
Tell me the nature of it, if there's any restrictions.
Ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but at minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including whatever they can perceive or have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favor for you at the DM's discretion.
Excuse me.
Okay, ask your question again for me.
Okay. Have you seen any ways in, or any way that we could probably get in without being noticed?
Well, there's one way I can get in. That's of course to fly. But
And the two of you are just hearing.
You're just hearing.
Is seriously talking to
I
this
don't
thing?
know.
Yeah.
Ah!
Kaka.
Go on.
but yeah, there's lots of stuff in there. It's overrun completely. What do you expect? Look at the place.
And he kind of like flats his wings out in front of him.
Could I convince you to see if there's maybe a back door or a sewer that we could crawl into and sneak in?
All right, nothing new for me to go there. All right.
And he just takes off and flies and like angles down the cliffside, gets real low to the ground, just kind of this small little shadow seems to just kind of angle off towards the city.
Okay. All right. I asked it to do us a small favor and find us.
I rolled a
way into
1.
the
Maze just
city.
throws a rock like at the bird after he left. Like, no, get out of here.
It goes up into the air and comes down, hits Maze in the face.
Natural one.
Yes, not one.
Wait, did you just talk to it?
Don't trust
right.
birds. They lie.
Is it a
Something-
magical bird?
Something no, as far as I know, no.
Oh, okay.
But something you should know about my past is And Maze knows this. I once traveled with a druid, and through my time with him, I kind of learned to be more in tune with nature.
Oh, that's very
So I
good.
took the oath of the ancients, and now I can speak with animals.
Oh, that's
I talk to leaves. They don't talk back, but I talk to them.
Also something that came from their former druid companion in a way.
What, did you pick up that from the druid as well?
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
He didn't teach me any of the druid ways, but he did teach me
how to talk.
a couple
That's
of
good.
things about being in
I'm
tune
glad
with
you can
nature.
talk now. It would have been really awkward before.
What?
Well, you couldn't talk before.
No, just speak with animals.
I am an animal.
No.
You're not an animal.
Oh, never mind.
I was hoping I had a cracker. I do not.
We'll have to feed it something.
Okay. So are we supposed to follow it?
No, I do believe we're supposed to wait.
I thought we already talked about this. We don't have any time to wait. We need to move.
It's a raven flying.
It's about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, roughly, at that point. So you have daylight, clear daylight, but
do we plan on going in at night?
There's a
want to do
possibility
that?
we'll have to. I don't like it any more than either of you.
I mean,
but
how much?
you two can see that.
How
I'm
much?
listening.
Yeah.
How much do demons sleep? Like,
don't
would my
know.
character know if any history?
Actually, I would probably
not
know.
Really.
What, how long
both
do
of you
humans
go
sleep?
ahead and roll.
I'm gonna roll.
Actually, Maze as
How
well.
much do
gonna roll.
demons
You want me to roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, intelligence.
On how long a human sleeps?
No, demons.
Oh, demons. I was like, what? I can tell you how long.
That's a dirty 20.
16.
Wow.
Alright, so I'll throw more things
That's
at
my
Maze
usual
this time. Okay, so Kael, through your studies of various demonic groupings, you would gather that in general, a war-type party of this nature would probably have sanctioned watches and cyclical watches overall, similar to what you would experience in a standard town. Elandwar, you get the same feeling, but recall from various visions that you're now remembering more vividly overall from some of your previous times that you've seen before, where it seems that things die down a little bit during the day and then at night kind of pick up more.
Yeah.
However, this is a not perpetually dark area, but shrouded, and to some extent from the smoke.
I mean, if I was a demon, I'd kind of be like a night owl, you know, stay up all night. Demons do that. Evil things like darkness. I think the best time to go is during the day, like right now.
Okay, we'll go, and I hope that the raven finds us.
Well, I do know they sleep a very long time when they're dead. Yes. Knowledge has shared that.
Unless you reanimate them.
That's
Speaking
only
of,
when I'm bored.
where are those dogs at still?
They're still following us. We have 24 hours.
24 hours.
They are.
24 hours.
Oh god.
Stinky, deteriorating dogs following us.
Maybe,
Hellhounds,
can
yeah.
we, how big are they? Can we ride those?
Oh, hellhounds are pretty big, but no, not rideable. They're not worth
Not rideable.
Okay. Never mind. That would have been a terrible plan anyway.
Mastiffs.
Kael, should I go in there now, or wait?
You're gonna come with us.
I don't know if we should separate.
You're not very quiet though, and you're all rather big.
Yes.
How about this? We approach as much as we have cover from the trees, and we'll send you in. You've got the shroud, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She could ride one of the dogs in if she wants
I
to.
wouldn't recommend that.
She'd be invisible.
Yeah, but it would be a
invisible, but
dead-
it'd be a weird
It would
dead
be a dog that is
Bad
dead.
idea.
It came from there.
I'll do it. If it gets me in, I'll do it.
No, we're not having a ride. You've already had one bad idea today. We're not.
I'll let you ride him later, Coral.
All right.
It's like you've made your bad idea.
No,
Like
I did. I
More
won.
like a bucking bronco on a goblin.
No,
and
we
a
probably tried to eat her.
warhound.
She turns around and looks at, there's 3 of them there.
Yeah.
2 of them are pretty, solidly docile, just staring, almost blank-eyed, just off into space. One of them's kind of like a little more feral than the others. It looks at her, kind of snarls a little bit,
I
and
pull
she
out a
looks back down and
parchment
goes.
and I go, no, bad.
She growls right back at it, right as you're patting it on the head. It kind of snaps back and goes into that docile state again.
Good dog.
So let's continue forward.
Okay.
Let's get to the edge of the trees so that we can stay covered. And then, Coral, that's when I'll have you go.
All right.
But like I said, first sign of trouble, you run.
Oh,
Make a perception check. All of you can do it, but mainly for Kael.
Yeah.
14.
19.
Have you been switching your dice up at the very
Oh,
least?
wait. If we're doing perception, it'll be
Banish
6.
it.
Okay.
It'll be 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I would be.
I roll a different one each time.
Oh my
Each
god.
time it's been a different one.
Have you rolled the new one yet?
No, not yet. Next.
Ilandwar, the two of you hear,
Necrotic
well,
touch.
you hear nothing. She turns and just kind of like
Yeah.
walks ahead a little bit, looking over the cliff.
I'm looking for leaves.
And you hear, she says something under her breath. You hear she's like,
well, I could just go now and it'd be fine, but I'll wait for these slow pokes.
she just kind of trounces off.
I don't think she was very happy about that. I think she feels like we're kind of like pushing her off. Like gonna do something she doesn't want to.
She said that she'll be fine, right?
Well, I mean, that's what she said, but that's probably not what she's thinking.
Is a squire allowed to speak their own mind?
To themselves, yeah.
Ah.
Themselves.
But just
Then-
because I heard it doesn't mean I have to.
Okay. I see. Being a squire sucks.
Being a...
Hey, it's fine. I like it. It's better than where I was.
See, that's why
She says off the cliff as she's like standing there just at the edge, kind of
I mean-
kicking rocks off.
Didn't you meet her in a dungeon? Isn't everything better?
I
than
order one
that?
dog to keep Coral
I
safe.
think we're entering into some.
That way she has something to
Okay,
play
let's get going.
So I'm down one dog.
All right. So, where you guys currently are is a bit of a cliffside, so you have to kind of traverse around back towards the lake a little bit further, because you guys have kind of gone off this little path area that went away to avoid the abominable yetis that were at the lakeside.
Abominable?
Multiple of them, actually, that you only saw one of. And so you guys angle back down there. It takes you a little bit of time, but you do get back down near the shoreline itself and start making your way towards the city. As you guys get closer, the raven comes back.
Hey!
Yes.
Do you have to recast that, or is it able to immediately talk to you?
10 minutes. How long has it been?
Longer than 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, I'll recast.
Okay.
I see it. I
It's
cast.
just talking at you.
Yeah, so it's laying, it's like,
1 second, and I just kind of press to my. What's that?
what was your exact reconnaissance mission for it? Was it entry point?
Entry point.
Okay.
Stealthy entry point.
Okay.
Well, if you go to the docks down there on the water's edge, there's a tunnel, and you can get in there, and I don't know, go in. I assume it comes out of the city.
That sounds good. How is it big enough for me to fit?
You'll get struggle, but you'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you. And then just get out some hardtack and just hand it to it.
Spits it out.
Pick it up.
That's not food.
Here,
Sorry.
no,
Flies
I'll,
away. It starts to fly away.
I'll do a survival and actually get some things that a raven would eat, not hard time.
Okay.
Okay, not very good. That's a.
You get it some berries.
It's already
10.
flown away.
Okay.
You start to kind of look around to try to see if you could find something, and you just watch it fly off over the
Do you
water.
seriously think they eat hardtack? I've probably never seen that before.
Look, you told me about being in tune with nature. You didn't teach me much about the eating habits of the common raven beyond the mountains.
Oh, okay. Well,
Past which he's never been
you
past.
need to do some study.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
So do we have a direction then?
Sure.
Right, so over by the docks, there's a tunnel, and we could actually all fit, Coral. So,
Okay.
since we can all fit, Coral, I still want you to scout out just the immediate entrance, make sure that there's nothing too dangerous that'll give us away, and then we'll all meet you at the tunnel entrance. You have your communicator. Good.
That'd be like a
Call back to
necklace
us.
for her.
The rings?
Yeah.
ring?
Would it be like a bracelet for her though?
No.
Or do they like? Were they made
Modifiable.
this size?
They're magic rings that make you talk to each other. They shrink to fit.
Okay. Dang.
So
Just let us know once the coast is clear, and we'll make our way across.
Right, got it.
she starts to prance off, and as she does so, the one of the hellhounds silently just chases after her right as she vanishes, and then you hear this kind of whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
And then the dog disappears.
Yes.
You appear. It appeared that it scooped her up and put her on its back.
Nice.
Okay, so then you guys are going to make your way a little more slowly towards the same path.
Yep.
Okay. Is Alandwar still going to be leading the venture?
Yeah.
He's the
sure.
one. He's the one who knows this
Yeah.
area.
Okay. Do a new survival roll for me on this one.
18.
Okay. Wow. I mean, he is a ranger. It's not difficult for you guys to continue on. Being led by Ilandwar, it's fairly simple here. You're surprised that you don't come across much in this area. You would have expected to see some form of watch or patrol or something like that this close to the city, especially you, Kael. However, go ahead and make perception rolls for me.
All the way around.
All the way around, all three of you?
8.
8.
16.
Finally.
That's the new one.
That is 15.
Okay, so the two of you actually, as you're kind of having this thought, you are glancing around, looking at the skies, looking kind of into the trees here, and you just kind of glance across the water and you see the water itself just kind of raises, and out of that kind of raising wave of water, there's a large, very large, maybe 10 feet wide, 15 possibly, like bluish back with various kind of spines that seem to kind of curve around as opposed to come to sharp points, almost like fins that go all the way down the center of this back that arcs out of the water and then angles back down into it. You get the feeling that maybe this is why nothing else is by the shore?
Okay.
Silver scale to bright eyes. Silver scale to bright eyes.
Nothing yet.
Code
Me
names?
too.
There's a pause.
Is there another bird?
Is that me?
No, your little one.
Is that? Oh. Might wanna.
Princess Bright Eyes.
Beatrice! Kael wants to talk to you.
Yes, Kael.
Something's come up. We're not experiencing any sort of
Airplane?
sentries or watches down by the lake. This might be a good way to sneak your men over.
There's something in the water down there that should be keeping them away. Unfortunately, our path comes in from the northeast. We are already too far that way to angle back towards the city. It is good to know you have a solid entry point, though, for yourselves.
Also seems as if there's a pretty good amount of air superiority. We'll need to watch the skies as well as what's in front and behind us.
Understood. Thank you for the report, Kael.
Alright.
And you guys all hear that full conversation based on
yeah.
the structure of the communication methods.
Ooh, group line.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It just happens in your head, but whatever. However, as you guys continue on, towards this dock, following the path along the lake, feeling a little more comforted after hearing Mithressa's expression of what's there. You hear something off to your right. It's this kind of jingling sound, this and looking over, a gust of wind kind of passes through the trees and blows back through your hair and kind of tosses your hoods off your face as you look in and you see this very large individual step out from the trees. They are probably 8-9 feet tall at least, just based off of generalized immediate assumption. They have this green skin that is dark and seems to almost blend into the forest itself.
Yeah, this is like, is it Gorman? But
There are a multitude of horns coming off of its head.
no, not Gorman.
Larger in the back, shorter in the front. It has a very kind of humanoid style face, though it is a little bit more on the apparent demonic side. However,
Going to back up.
You just described the mullet of horns.
of what?
Larger in the back and smaller in the the mullet
They're
of
on
horns.
top of its head.
I was like, that's what I'm picturing, is a horn, a mullet.
At its side is a massive scimitar. Curved blade coming back wider at the base, and it seems it's sheathed there. As it approaches, you notice that there are various runes inscribed along this sword. It steps forward. It has silver and gold bangles on its wrists and ankles. It's wearing no shoes. Its feet are nearly the size of a leg, as it just kind of steps out of the trees, crosses its arms in front of its chest.
You don't look like you're from around these parts.
Is that speaking common?
Yeah.
Okay, just common.
And its voice kind of echoes and rumbles through this area.
I say,
Neither do you.
You're the one I'm looking for.
Am I now?
The horned one. Down in the woods in the forest. He sent me to find you. Said you might be getting yourself into trouble here. You could use another blade.
I'll actually take any help we can get.
I figured as much.
What's your name?
My name is Ifalian.
Is what?
Ifalian.
Ifalian.
okay, roll it.
Ifalian.
All right.
Okay.
I'm a sworn protector of Tyrael. Similar to your friend.
Good.
I'll be nearby, watching.
And he kind of just, before you have any chance to say anything else, he kind of steps back towards the trees and just vanishes into the bushes silently. As you had previously heard the kind of jingle of these various rings and scales and such that were across his torso, kind of on this almost like sash that he had on his chest, and then they had a kind of war skirt per se that had various links of metal woven in within the fabric itself, and it all made quite a noise, similar to like bells. But as he stepped away, nothing. And you continue to hear nothing around you. You make your way up towards the city closer. As you do get closer, you start to notice that there are various patrols in this section. You get to a point where the trees seem to clear out closer to the docks being maybe 100 yards away from you now. You can see there are actually various entry points behind the docks that seem to give you this idea that this may be where the Raven was kind of directing you. There are no elven ships here anymore, but there are 3 what appear to be demonic warships of some kind that are being constructed in this area, not that have been brought here. So they are moored up onto the shore, and there's various workers that you see, demonic, human, elven, orcish, couple dwarves that are actually working under whip to create these structures, these warships that have odd protrusions coming from the sides and the front, various spikes and cylinders that are unfamiliar to any of you. Kael, you've heard of something like this in Marikos before, something that they were studying and attempting to create themselves, but had yet not had a successful attempt at doing so. Various ships exploding in the process of creating a new weapon. And it gives you more than mild concern that the construction of these is much farther along than seems to have been what you had encountered. Elandwar, you're immediately filled with rage overall at the appearance of this place, the appearance of this slavery, the elves particularly that are being enslaved here. You find yourself clenching the side of Ustabast, your bow, and you look down and your hand is just white from how hard you're shaking as you clench it. And you kind of steady yourself. Make a intelligence roll for me.
10.
You speak Orcish, right?
Yes.
You recall part of the legend of this bow being that not only does it create the thunderous damage and noise that you've experienced previously, but it can also be used in various forms. Through kind of a close study of some of the Orcish runes that are on here, you begin to understand that you can conjure various properties to this bow based on command words. You've spent quite a bit of time with it, and now you seem to understand it a little bit better, that if you were, and the one thing you guarantee that you know for sure from this, is that if you say the Orcish word for silence, the bow will make no noise when fired, which the Orcish word for silence is Slingjosh.
Okay. All right.
So keep that in mind as you approach. You guys are now standing in the shadow of the city, seeing your entry point, unaware of where Koral may have gone, no other allies in sight.
And that is where we'll pick things up next week. Thank you so much to those of you that came out and watched our show live at the Kansas City Renaissance Festival. We really, really appreciated having everyone out there and seeing us do this for the very first time. It was a great experience for every single one of us, and we hope to see more of you at future live events that we have planned that we will be announcing very soon. Thank you for watching tonight. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll see you in the next one.